Ongoing protests and conflict at PSU. We want to bring in Dr. Randall Blazak. He's a retired, tenured professor from Portland State University, and he works with Cure PNW, a federally funded group aiming to reduce political violence in the Pacific Northwest.
All right, Dr. Blazak, thanks for coming back on the show this morning. I just want to get your take on what happened yesterday as you watched this all unfold.
It's a really good lesson in the balance between de-escalation and having to restore public order. There is this sort of wait and see approach that we've traditionally used with protest groups going back to the Occupy movement. And then there's the need to get things back to normal, especially on a college campus where students want to graduate and get through midterms and all that stuff. And so there was a tipping point. I think the tipping point was when the march broke off and went through downtown and destroyed property in the city. I think that was sort of a bridge too far for Portland police, and then things had to shift. So there could have been more occupation and more kind of waiting and seeing, but I think it just sort of spiraled into more sustained criminal behavior that required a more forceful response.
Yeah, it's interesting because we're seeing this at PSU and other universities around the country. Really, universities kind of struggling to find that line between allowing demonstration and free speech at a public university where people can gather and where it crosses into that criminality that police and university officials then feel the need to act upon. And one of the things we heard from law enforcement and from city leaders yesterday was that the behavior here is detracting from the original message that protesters, wanted to push, which was solidarity for people in Gaza and support for Palestine. So do you think that these types of demonstrations that are crossing into vandalism and destruction of property are furthering the cause in any way?
Yeah. I mean, this is something that we've seen before, and protests like this are complex organisms, and there is a group within this larger protest group that's really concerned about life in Palestine that just wants destruction. These are our local anarchists who just want to create chaos, and the destruction has nothing to do with saving lives in Gaza. It has to do with this ongoing battle with society writ large that does detract from the message. And then again, we get another tipping point where this isn't about what's happening in Gaza at all. It's about the destruction and the criminal behavior, and it just gets hijacked by these people with these very strong egos that just want to bump heads with authority, and it loses the thread of the very important message that this was supposed to be about.
So how does this move the debate, I guess, going forward? Because this is something that we've seen with past protests and other causes that kind of get different groups clumped together with something like this. We heard from President Biden yesterday, and he was asked, have you changed your mind on any of your policies in the Middle East? And he said no. So how does this impact what's happening, as this plays out on the international scale and just this debate as it moves forward?
Yeah, there is sort of two things that happen. One is some people are just going to shut down and not want to have any conversations about what's happening in the Middle East because they associate it with the destruction. But the other is on college campuses and other places, including the halls of our government, there is going to be a wider conversation because it's clear that Americans care about what's happening on the other side of the planet. And it's clear that there is considerable support for ceasefire or changing the tactics that Israel is going after Hamas, that the conversation can widen. I mean, that sort of, if there's a silver lining to this, it's that it will open up the conversation to people who would never even think about what's happening in the Middle East or might not be able to find Israel on a map. Now, all of a sudden, this is sort of in their vision, and this conversation can happen. And so there is a benefit. And we saw this all the way back to the anti-war movement in the 1960s, is that the mainstream had to engage in this conversation about the Vietnam War. And I think the mainstream now, including all the time that's been spent on local media about it, has to at least think about what's happening in Gaza.
Dr. Blazak, I want to just kind of, set aside some of the issues and dialogue about the Middle East for a second and just look at what happened at PSU yesterday in the context of the demonstrations and protests that Portland has seen before. It seems like this time we saw a lot more solidarity from city leaders, from police, from campus leaders in their approach and their messaging throughout the events of this week. And I'm curious, do you think that this city is evolving in its approach to some of these demonstrations because of what we saw in 2020 and 2021?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think where we find de-escalation away from violence, and this is the project that I'm working on, is when people feel like they can be heard, like their voice has some resonance with the halls of power, where they feel like there is a connection to the possibility to make some real sustained change. And by having people sort of share their values around these things, it really kind of takes a lot of the energy away from the people who just want to destroy stuff to make a point. And I think it's a useful tactic to talk about where we're all on the same page, that we're not that far apart in terms of what we want to see in the world. And that sort of reduces the us versus them mentality that's characterized protests in the past and certainly in other cities.
Interesting. Well, Dr. Blazak, again, appreciate you coming back on Coin News AM Extra. It's a fascinating topic, and of course, I'm sure we'll be touching base as this continues to kind of move forward here.
I'm sure we will.